Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reflect and Rise podcast. I am your host, Adrian, and I am with my first guest ever, Mr. Ethan. What up, my guy?
What up, man?
Dude.
I'm super excited to be here.
Dude, I am so stoked because let's talk about how you and I made that connection.
Off the start.
Yeah. Was it you that said that you were from Zionsville?
Yes. Well, no. You asked me where I'm from.
Yeah. Because you said Indiana, right? You went to I said, oh, you're here for college or something, exchange, and you said IU, right?
Yep.
And then we talked about Zionsville, and I said, oh yeah, I've been to Zionsville so much, and then you're like, no fucking way. Like we literally. Our paths might have crossed at some point in time.
That's the natural evolution when you talk about Indiana. Is I say you say where you're from. I say around Indianapolis, and you say where around Indianapolis, and I say Carmel area, and then you say where, and then I say Zionsville, and then you said, oh shit.
One of the first things I remember saying is, oh, you're a Carmel boy, huh?
Yeah, I said no, close.
Well, tell us then, Ethan, because first of all, just for the podcast, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
You just turned 21
Yep,
too.
fresh.
Okay, we'll talk about your birthday a little later.
Yep.
But you're 21 years old. You're here in Bangkok. Just tell us, like, how did you get here, and what brought you here, in general?
It's a great question, and I guess I'll just start with. I'm in school right now, and we have a great exchange program through our business school. So I kind of chose this school with that in the back of my mind, that eventually I want to go study abroad.
Oh, okay. Have you stayed abroad anywhere else apart from Bangkok at this point?
No, I did a family trip to Europe a few summers ago, but this is my second time abroad, first time in Asia.
And you came here alone?
Alone, yep, purely alone.
Tell me about, how was that?
I would say I kind of ripped off the Band-Aid of solo travel 3 years ago now. So this wasn't my first time solo traveling.
Where was the first one?
When I graduated high school, the day that I graduated, I drove my truck 2,000 miles west to Montana and Wyoming, and I camped out of my truck for a month and a half.
Holy shit. So, wait. You were doing this voluntarily, right?
Yes.
So you were voluntarily homeless for how long was it?
Like a month and a half. It wasn't that long.
Damn, dude. And this was like right after you graduated high school.
It was the scariest day of my life.
Why? Why'd you do it?
I think a variety of reasons. I was very fed up at the end of high school of just kind of like same old. I think by that point, like, I was just through with it all, ready to get out. And I saw people online kind of doing this. You can just camp out of your truck, save money. And I was like, I want to do that.
So then, I'm sorry, I'm so interested in this. So did you like take the back seats out of your truck, and how was your sleeping situation? So
the summer before, I saved up a lot of money working at a restaurant, and I bought a cap for the truck bed.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a pickup truck, but then I put a cap on the back, so like obviously it keeps out the rain, snow, whatever. And you put a mattress in the back, and my dad helped me build out the back. I shouldn't say helped me. He built out the back. Okay, he built out the back.
All right. And it was comfortable?
It was comfy. I mean, I have a pretty thick mattress back there.
Okay. And then this was after high school, so that was in the summer.
Yep.
How did you deal with the heat?
Good question. Because when you're in the back of the truck, it can get very stuffy.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep well a lot of times.
Dude. But, okay. So you spent a summer, a month and a half or so, traveling out west, living in your car, spent a lot of time alone.
Yep.
So I'm curious, because this is a podcast about emotional intelligence and just experiences, right? What is the one biggest revelation or biggest thing you gained from that whole experience?
People make the place.
Whoa, that was fast.
It was really fast.
Tell me more. What does that mean?
I think you see some of the most beautiful places sometimes, but seeing them alone is not the same as seeing it with somebody else and spinning it with someone else.
We talked a little bit about this, didn't we,
Yeah.
when you were in China?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying that like even if you go see like the Grand Canyon, sharing it with another human truly makes a difference.
Yes, I think the biggest difference in the world. And I think that's what I learned the most out there was like living your life is not a solo journey. And I think I was trying to shoulder a lot of responsibility solo, but it's the people that help you so much.
Dang, dude. I imagine your dad was your parents were pretty huge supporters
Yes.
of you during this time, so they would count as those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anyone else during that trip that supported you like from afar, who like checked in on you, texted you, that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I think a lot of my closest friends that I've known since I was 6 years old all thought it was pretty dang epic. So we'd call sometimes, and that was obviously great to hear their voice, and that kept me in line.
Yeah. So then that was ripping off the Band-Aid, right?
Yes.
Of solo travel.
Yes.
So you can't, go ahead.
There were just a lot of shocks there, I would say, of just like, also just figuring out your life after college. I think realizing kind of how big the world is. I never really like kind of had those worldly thoughts in my mind until that trip.
So then that trip kind of opened up your eyes to potentially studying abroad or like living abroad for a bit?
Yes, because of that sort of uncomfortable feeling.
Oh man. So then how did that experience shape you picking Bangkok?
Yeah, I've always had an interest in Asia.
Uh-huh.
And I think just uncomfortable situations in general.
Uh-huh.
And I know we've discussed this a little bit, but just I think the perception of Asia as an American is very different than like Europe.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And I just wanted that sort of uncomfortable, less characteristic experience. And that's exactly what I've gotten.
Really? So like, what does that mean, that uncharacteristic? Like, explain that a bit more to me.
Yeah, I try to define it maybe as like most college students that at least I'm around go to Europe if they have the opportunity.
Yes.
Or would be maybe scared or nervous to go somewhere where their friends aren't going. But I wanted to embrace that.
So then, would it be fair to say that like you wanted to go against the mold?
Yes, I think that's a theme in a lot of what I do since I was a kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we've talked about this before, right? Where in Indy, you go to college, you get a girlfriend, you get a dog, you get married, then you work on the circle.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's and you live in Carmel and you vacation in Tennessee. Am I wrong?
You know, you're spot on.
And I have friends who I knew in college who are still doing that. It's an amazing life. It's peaceful, it's consistent, and Indy's a fun town, right? But you completely, when you told me you were from Zionsville, I was like, holy shit, this guy came from like Zionsville and came to Southeast Asia by himself. That's why I found your story so interesting, you know? So then, what would you say is like moving here? What was the hardest part? Because there are some tough parts, right?
Yeah, and I know you can definitely speak on this because I think you can probably speak on this better than me because you're here for an indefinite amount of time. I always knew in the back of my mind, like I'm here for 5 or 6 months, which I think changes like the frame of mind. Because I was in go mode from the start of like, see it all, do it all before my time runs out.
Yes. Yeah.
You were probably never in that.
No. I imagine at some points you felt lonely though.
Yes.
So how did you walk me through like when you first felt lonely and how you coped?
That's a good question. I would say, I think in those sorts of new environments, it's tough to recreate those connections that make your life so rich back home. Some of my you want to like recreate those friendships that are just seamless, easy. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But that's not readily available. So I think it's just a waiting game of you have to put the effort in and build those communities and relationships, and that takes time.
Yeah, it does. What were the first communities that you found?
I think we know the answer to this one. The hop at Bangkok, in Bangkok.
Okay, so tell us, what is the hop, Ethan?
The hop is a lot of things, but first and foremost, it's a swing dancing community in Southeast Asia, one of the best in Southeast Asia, probably the world. And it has some incredible people, and we swing dance most night or 2 nights a week, usually Tuesday night and Saturday night.
And so, how did you find that? Like, what got you into swing dancing and into that?
My cousin is a great influence.
Oh.
She's a few years older than me, and she's a great dancer. And she suggested, I asked her, if I was to try dance sometime, what should I try? And she doesn't dance swing, but she's like, I think you would like swing dancing. I think you should give it a try.
Oh. Did she used to go to Fountain Square?
No. I really don't think she's danced much swing.
Have you been to Fountain Square?
No.
Oh.
I started in Denver, Colorado.
You started so you went to the Mercury Cafe?
Yes.
Oh, snap, dude. When were
Such a cool place.
Isn't it beautiful? Man, I know some people in Denver. So I would say you probably hit the jackpot because Denver is one of the friendliest swing dance scenes in the country.
Really?
Denver, San Diego. Yeah, those are 2. So you hit the jackpot there. Okay, but you found swing dancing, and then is that how you started building community, how you met more people?
Yes, and I think I really enjoyed the hop because it had still a bunch of local ties. Obviously a lot of expats too, but I wanted to still be like immersed in Thai culture.
I think that you and I share that in common because I remember telling my realtor, I don't want to stay somewhere where there are a lot of farangs. I felt bad.
Some farangs.
Yeah, I felt bad because then she was like, oh, there are not going to be a lot of places you can stay then. I was like, okay, just find any. And then she found this, right? But I really wanted to immerse myself. If I had it my way, I would be living in a place that's like 9,000 baht. That's like very, very local, But yes, the hop has a lot of really great, wonderful local Thai people.
Amazing. They're the best.
Yeah, who are also going to come here tonight.
Yeah. We got a little hangout here tonight after the podcast.
Yeah, and so I'm really, really looking forward to that. But how has like meeting Thai locals like helped your Thai experience, your travel experience?
I have one off the top of my head, and I think you and I again this experience has been with you.
Yeah.
When we go out to dinner. This is the best part.
Yeah.
Because they take us to some back room that we would have never ever found. And then they order all the food for us.
That's true. They're so kind and patient.
So patient.
And then you are like, we'll take whatever you want, order whatever you want, we'll eat anything. And man, they're also kind, like Chris, Bai,
Tonhon.
Yeah, all of them. They've been so great, and kind of like the food is probably the biggest part, right?
It's so huge.
Like, what have you tried here that was like, oh, this is what I really like?
This is the problem. It's like, this is where I think my Americanism and lack of cultural awareness comes in. It's like, I don't know the names of a lot of the dishes I eat. So I eat this phenomenal dish, but then I don't even get the name for it. So like, I'm eating this world-class food, but I couldn't even tell you like what I've eaten.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because there's also a language barrier. Right. So when you were here, did you like try to learn some basic Thai words, or how did you go about around the language?
Yeah, so this is a great question because I just took my final exam for Thai class yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It did not go well.
I appreciate your honesty, man. Oh my God.
It was one of the worst exams I've ever taken.
Oh no.
I'm not shitting.
Okay. Wait, what did you score?
I haven't gotten the score back, and I don't want to get the score back.
Okay, so like you took the exam and you're like, oh, I know in my heart that it wasn't a grade that I wanted.
No.
Thai's hard, man.
It's freaking hard.
Tonals, right? And then you have like cow, then cow. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Cow.
Yeah. So it's a hard language.
Yeah.
Did that Thai class help you at all to get around Bangkok and stuff?
Yes, and I think just feeling more confident. I think when you know a little bit of the language, you feel more confident just to like approach people and say "Sawasdee Kap," and just like, I don't know, you feel less like a goofball saying hello.
Wait, do that again.
Hello.
Was that goofy?
It's goofy. That's what I sound like to them probably.
I mean, I feel like maybe it's just me because I don't know like the culture of Thailand that well, right? But correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like people in Bangkok, they're very patient with Farangs. They're very patient because they know that like, oh, he's making an effort to speak Thai, you know?
I felt the same way.
What has been like experiences with Thai locals that have really left a lasting impression on you?
I'll go back to that restaurant example.
Yeah.
And the patience of some of the people we're with. As like, let's say there's like 14 of us at the table, and usually Tonhon is like coordinating the table.
Yeah.
And just the patience is the right word of like making sure everybody's, the hospitality, making sure everybody's fed and everybody has water, enough drinks and everything, which is probably just a specific character trait for him specifically, but I think that's reflective of the greater Thai culture as well.
Yeah. I can fully agree with that because anytime we've gone out and when he's not there, Chris typically does the same thing, or Sin, you know. I went out with Orm and Tun and they did the same thing. It's like, I feel like the hop just brings together like really great, kind, wonderful people.
Yes.
You know? Which kind of makes sense given the dance that we do, right? Yeah. But
how close it is and like it just free spirited and fun.
Yeah. Now you've been here in Bangkok for how long?
Since January 13th.
And you're going to be going home when?
A week from yesterday.
Dude, I did not know that. I literally thought I had like another month with you.
No, this is it.
So you're leaving next
Thursday.
Next Thursday. So the hop next Tuesday is your last one.
Yep, I go Saturday to the hop and then Tuesday, and that's it.
But dude, I gotta say, we gotta give you a little bit of a clap because you had your first DJ set at the hop last Tuesday.
I know. Thank you.
How was
it? Was very fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was less complicated than I thought it was. You just set your Spotify playlist and kind of mess with the volume a few times, but other than that, you vibe out.
Are you gonna join the IU Swing Dance Club when you get there?
I want to. I want to continue to do this.
Yeah?
Just it's the community.
Yeah. I mean, there's also Naptown up in Indy. So they're also a great, but we'll talk about that later.
I'll be there this summer. I'll be in Naptown this summer.
Yeah?
For sure.
Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good.
Because I'm working in Indy.
But this is not, oh, you are? Wait, yeah. Where?
The firm or?
The area.
Area? I mean, like pretty downtown. Circle area. Yeah, close to the circle. I
used to work in the old Key building.
Oh. Is that the big one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the second biggest one to the Salesforce Tower.
Oh.
Is that what it's called now?
Yeah.
Okay, not the Chase Tower anymore, Salesforce Tower.
Yep.
There's a Thai restaurant, actually, funny enough, just down the street on Market Street. I forget what it's called, but they have the best basil fried rice.
Better than Thailand?
No.
I was about to say, that's a hot take.
No, but at the time, I had never been here before, so I was like, yeah, so if you get a chance, I used to eat there like 3 times a week because it was so good.
You know the name?
I think it's Thai Paradise, I believe.
Okay.
And then there's another one in Fountain Square. Same thing. I just want to reiterate how wild it is, man. I can say all these places and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I used to park at Fountain Square because it was free. And I would walk to downtown to the office. It was better than parking on the circle and hoping I don't get a ticket.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you weren't risky.
I was risky a lot of times, man. I had so many tickets from, I gave the Indy parking government so much money.
And that's why you left.
Exactly. But now I want to talk more about your traveling experience, right?
Yep.
Because you're 21, you've been to more countries than most Americans, dare I say most people from the Hoosier state.
Yeah.
Right? So where are all the countries you've been to since being in Bangkok?
Yep, I can rip it off here. There's 7. So I was in Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, Taiwan, China, Cambodia, and Nepal.
7 countries.
Yep.
All solo travel, except for Taiwan.
Nope, Taiwan was with you in the group. And that was one of my favorite trips.
Yeah? It was a good time. For those who don't know, Ethan made finals in one of the competitions over there. He did fucking great.
It was a blast. And for those who don't know, I did.
That part doesn't matter.
The podcast isn't about you today.
You're the guest. We're talking about you. But so you went to 7 countries, right? I'm gonna ask you a very hard question. Okay. And you have to answer within 10 seconds.
Okay.
Apart from Thailand, which of the countries was your favorite?
Japan.
Ooh. Yeah, I understand. How come?
How orderly and systematic it is.
Oh.
I'm a very orderly and systematic guy. So
Uh-huh.
I had such a respect for just like how things were like in line. The people, the systems, the trains.
Yeah. Dude, I think most people say the food. But you're the first one that I've spoken to who said, or you mean like people standing to the left and people who want to walk up?
Yes.
And then standing to the side when going into the MRT or the BRB? Yeah.
And just how traffic flows. You know, there's no jaywalking. The streets are pretty clean in Tokyo. The train system is flawless, right on time or early.
Yeah. Yes. I remember one time it was like a minute late and then the conductor went and bowed and said sorry to everyone. So I agree that that type of respect is incredible.
It was also my first Asian country I went to.
Oh, okay.
It was my first stop before Thailand.
Oh, so you went to Japan first for a couple days and then went to Bangkok?
So I think there might have been that kind of wanderlust honeymoon stage.
Did you know anyone in Japan?
No.
And you weren't swing dancing then, right?
No, I was only there for a week.
1 week.
Yep. Did Tokyo for a few days and then I went skiing.
You went skiing solo.
Yep.
Damn, dude.
That part wasn't as good. Tokyo was better.
Really? Well, you didn't like the skiing part?
Because I was meeting so many people in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But the mountains I wasn't meeting that many people.
So I'm curious, right? Because you meet a lot of people, you're able to talk to anyone. Would it be fair to say you're an extrovert?
I am an extrovert.
Do you know your Myers-Briggs?
I do. What? ENTJ?
ENTJ.
I'm pretty sure I'm an ENTJ.
Okay, that makes sense because the T is for thinking, right? So you said you're very systematic, you're very like structured.
Yes.
Right? So you make a lot of your decisions based off of data and reality.
Yes, that is true. I'm like thinking and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah.
I say that because I'm an ESFJ.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm an F, which means that I make decisions based off how I feel. But as the years went on, I've learned that I can't always trust how I feel. And so instead of like making my heart and my brain fight, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with my brain despite how I feel, right? Because the times I've gone with how I felt, it didn't have as the best results. You know? Do you know what I mean?
I do, and I think there's a place for both.
Yeah. 100%.
Especially when it comes to love. I don't know nothing about that, but
I was gonna say, man, you're talking to a jaded man. I see a couple, I'm like, ugh. But I agree with you because even friendships, I would say.
Yep.
With friendships, there isn't.
So real.
Yeah. Tell me about that for you. Friendships and feeling.
I think sometimes, at least when I was younger as well, and still now, there's people logically you maybe think they're not the best for you because they're maybe not the person you want to be, whether it's you're drinking with them, you do drugs with them. Or like whenever you're with them, you're partying. But you feel such good things around them, but maybe they're not the right person for your future.
Ah, okay. So let me see if I understand. You have someone that you care about and who you have fun with and you get along really well with, and you have a strong feeling towards them, but you also know that the way that their life is going and maybe the behaviors that they are doing are not conducive to your personal growth. Would you say that's accurate?
I'd say it's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's an example of your head and your heart like working in synergy to make a good choice, right?
Yes.
Have you had to cut out some friends and some people in your life because of that?
I'd say not deliberately. I think a lot of that just happens naturally. As I always, whenever I was growing up and still growing up, I always think like it's going to be this big deal. Like when you part ways with someone or part ways with a friend. But it just happens naturally. I think time just kind of does its own thing. Time always just like figures it out.
The fact that you're able to recognize that at 21 years of age is incredible because there are people my age who just cannot fathom that at this moment. So then you're saying friendships dissipate and change.
Yes, because time
and
changes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And we change too. Sometimes I feel like maybe what might happen is you go back to IU, you realize you can't relate to that one dude who's all about doing cocaine and drugs and partying when you want to have a conversation about the structure and order of Tokyo. You feel
Spot
me?
on. Yes.
I feel I would be so curious to do another episode with you in like 2 years and just ask how your reintegration into the United States was. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been really eye-opening for you, like living here, right?
Totally, in so many different ways.
What would you say is like some of the biggest changes that happened within you thanks to living here?
I think the one that always comes to mind is like there's no right way to live life. And I think sometimes, like we're talking about, where everybody feels pressured to maybe settle down and do what everybody else is doing, get that job, get the dog, get the cat, you know, settle down. There's so many other things you can do in life. And there's so much out there. I think that thought can overwhelm you at times, but it also just gives you, I think, a lot of empathy and understanding.
Huh. So just that there's so much more out there.
Yeah, and like just because that's somebody else's path doesn't mean it's right or wrong.
Right. It's like, have you ever thought before moving to Bangkok that like, oh, this is how life should be?
Yes, I still do sometimes.
Oh.
Like I said, I'm a very structured person.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I box myself in with my own ideas.
I appreciate that vulnerability.
Yeah.
So then do you have like a plan that says, oh, when I turn 27, I'm going to be married with kids, or?
I don't think it's that structured, but it's more kind of like in a year, I need to get a job. I want to be in a big city. I have to have that. If I don't, I won't be living up to my own standards. Which I know that thought is, it's not, boxing yourself in is not healthy because things change.
So then you have high expectations of yourself that you put on yourself, right?
Yes, I would say yeah.
And then
that's why failing my Thai exam hurt so bad.
I get that. Oh man, I was gonna ask you something about that. Okay, so then realizing here, living here, made you realize there's so much more out there. There's so much things to do. Has that softened your expectations on yourself or softened your goals at all?
Yes, I think when I'm in that state of mind of kind of the state of mind I like to be in, it's in that, I like that word, softened. And things aren't rigid, things aren't set, things can change, things flow. You don't know where you're gonna be, and yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I feel like that the Thai culture is very laid back,
Yes.
right? It's very relaxed. It's very chill. It's very sabay. Chime?
Chai mai. Chai.
And so like, I feel like maybe that rubbed off on you some. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who's very structured, because I live by my calendar, right? Yeah. And I try to be very, very structured, but I know by default I'm not. But I prefer structure as to not structure. And being here has made me realize I can take my time. I can breathe a little easier. I don't have to like be like, okay, I'm going to this movie at this time. I need to be there 5 minutes early. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're more able just to settle in and go at your own pace.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, of course, so you said you were going to an exchange college here, right?
Yeah.
So has that college environment, how does that college environment differ from like that easygoing atmosphere? Is that the same or different from IU?
I would say very different just because the physical structure is different. And the university here, the Thai students, no one stays on campus. So there's not like apartment buildings and like a social life around the campus.
Yeah.
Versus IU is completely different. It's all right there. It's all right in one centralized location.
Yeah. I feel that. That's true. I have to tell you after the podcast something about IU.
Oh no.
No, it's actually a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and next time you go to IU, you'll be like, oh, I remember what Adrian told me.
Ooh.
But my question for you, right, is like this podcast I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. It's meant to reflect a lot about your life, your experiences, the places you've traveled. Yeah. And then the rise part is how that's changed you, how it's made you better or a more elevated version of yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you could kind of like, and you feel free to take as long as you want.
Yeah.
If you could talk about like some of the reflections you had from your time here in Bangkok, right? And then how you're going to rise or how you have risen from those reflections.
Brother, this question, my brain is just going right now. I have an answer. I have a really good answer.
Take all the time you need.
I think the first thing I've realized is my parents. And I may get emotional talking about this because like they just mean the world to me. And I've gotten such perspective on like the sacrifice that they've made and the financial resources they've given me to be here, to do this. And how they support me on all of this. And I've really gotten a lot of perspective on that. And it's like, yeah, I don't, no amount of thank yous I can give them, no amount of anything can make up for that. Like they just do it out of love for me. And that's just a thought hits me again and again.
Aww.
Yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to travel to these places without them and do the things I do. Even when I left for my trip in high school, same thing. My dad literally helped me build the truck out. He helped buy the truck in the first place. They were willing to send me on my way.
Which is very brave of parents. Yeah, that's huge.
But definitely a position of very fortunate to have that. And it's made all this possible. It's the best parents in the world.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Ethan's parents, you guys are awesome. They're gonna listen to this, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is your blessing, your call out, your props.
So absolutely.
Your parents were huge reflection, right?
Yep. And I don't know, I think sometimes like, oh, it took me to travel to 7 countries across Asia for me to really appreciate them. I think that's just the naivety of youth. Like, I couldn't appreciate them for all the other shit they gave me. It was only when I traveled Asia for 6 months.
I feel that. Do you feel like the distance made an impact on that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So being away from them, but then your dad came to visit, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing. And just seeing, he's like a fish out of water in Asia. If he's listening to this, he knows that. He won't even eat Thai food.
Did you give him any spicy food?
You won't try it.
He won't try it?
Nope.
I have a best friend like that. He refuses to eat anything that's not like burger, fries, pizza, straight American food.
And it annoys you, but it's like that. It is what it is. That's your friend. That's your dad.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so your parents were definitely a huge. I can feel how big of a reflection and how much that meant to you. Mm-hmm. The fact that they did that. What other things, like when you look back now, do you reflect on? You're like, damn, that was pretty freaking epic.
I would say just the choice in kind of every conversation to be present and kind of, it's always a choice, every day to like put that best version of yourself forward.
Yeah.
Like when I walk into the hop, it's a choice to put on a smile and like want to talk to people.
Yeah.
And engage and be present.
Have there been times where you just didn't feel like doing that?
Absolutely.
But then how do you feel after you like talk to people and you smile and
that's what keeps you going. I think that's what makes you want to wake up every day and be like, this life is worth living.
That's a deep statement right there. 150%. So then being fully present and being connected to others, would you say that's fair?
Yes. I think though that's why like the hop and some of those other moments, which is with like random strangers on the street, when we really engage and get into conversation, has been everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have an example here. I was on a boat heading from Krabi to one of the islands down south in Thailand. Mm-hmm. And I sat next to this woman, her name was Barb, and she told me some amazing stories. I would say she just kind of had a rougher past, hasn't had an easy life. Mm-hmm. And just hearing her story and her vulnerability on this 2-hour boat ride, by the end of it, like, it's like I knew this woman forever. And she told me just like some tragic things and some beautiful things that have happened in her life, and those moments are just everything.
It sounds like you've had a lot of those moments here.
Yeah, I think you always wish you had more, but
yeah, because I forget when it was. It was some night when you and I were out with the hop and getting dinner. But I remember asking you, and you were talking about something similar that you experienced, where you're just talking to someone, you were so interested in their story. Oh wait, that was me.
I was so interested in your story.
Yeah, because we started talking about the dad stuff.
Right.
Oh shit, that was terrible. Right. The thing I remember is like, I'm sorry.
No, I remember now. Yes.
But that's like, but apart from that, right? There are so many different people that come to Bangkok.
Yes, so diverse.
And you get to meet so many. Was Barb American?
Canadian.
Canadian. Mm-hmm. There are Barbaras in Canada?
There's Barbs in Canada.
I was going to say Canada.
Shit.
I was going to say Barb sounds like such an American name.
Yeah, an old American name for sure.
Okay. So let's go with one last one.
Yeah.
What's one last reflection that you had here in Bangkok that has left a big impression?
Oh, there's so many ways I could take this. I always want to go back to my parents, but I already said that.
You can restate something else, something like that again if you want.
Yeah, I think potentially giving those experiences to my own kids and my own family would be. I don't know if I wanted to take the question that direction, but like.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
So you want your kids to experience like.
I mean, if they want to. Obviously, some people don't want to travel.
Yeah. Dang. Have you ever thought about like sending them to an international school or boarding school or anything like that? I mean, This is like years and years.
Yeah,
down the line.
no, I don't know. It's just like, I think it's difficult to plan anything. Like, it's difficult to even plan having a kid.
Yeah.
Let alone where you're going to send them to school.
100%. The reason why I ask is because I went to international school.
Right.
And I went to boarding school. And I have to say, it was quite a very eye-opening experience.
How was it?
We'll save that for another podcast.
I'm really not going to get anything out of you on this podcast.
I'll answer that. So, similar to your situation, right? How you said it was very eye-opening to be here and how you had those amazing experiences. Going to an international school, I feel like really shaped my life because I went to a private Christian school. And so I carry, even though I'm not religious anymore, I still carry those, whatchamacallit?
Principles?
Yeah, those principles and the fruits of the Spirit, right? Kindness, gentleness, all of those. I forget the rest. But it was great. I really had a good experience. So when you mentioned that you're interested in having your kids having that experience, I'm like, all things considered, sure, was I a little fucked up after that? Yeah. But like, I'm pretty sure that I would have been even more fucked up if I went to a high school in the States.
So this was for high school?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then when I went to Anderson University, that was me going overseas. That's how I went like abroad to like college.
I see.
Yeah,
I hadn't even gotten this background before. That's so interesting.
I mean, it was culture shock for me, which like I'm sure it was you had some version of culture shock when you came here, right?
Yeah.
What was one?
The easy one's just like the chaos on the streets, just with the bikes and everything.
Oh yeah.
Easy answer, but like that really does take adjusting too.
That does. Did I tell you that I have a motorcycle that I rented out?
No. I know. I don't know if I want to hear that, brother.
It is very wild. It's absolutely wild.
Do you have your license?
Yeah, I have a motorcycle license. I used to ride in California.
Okay. So you've rode bikes before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was the first time.
No. I have like an international driver's license with the motorcycle endorsement.
Got it. Okay, I should have assumed because you do so many things.
But I will say this, dude. Riding here feels safer than riding in America.
I can somewhat sense that because like even though how chaotic it is, there's still like method to it.
Yeah. Whereas in this, because cars know that there are motorcycles around. But in the States, I feel like people just don't, the thing you hear the most about accidents is, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, you know? And so I remember the riding instructor said, that's why you wear full gear. And here, some people don't even wear helmets. You know, it's scary. Which, by the way, Ethan's mom, he's been wearing a helmet every time he's taken a motorcycle. I just want to let you know that.
Hell yeah.
I did see it. He did have the helmet when he came to the hop. Just want to let you know.
Thank you, Adrian. We needed that piece.
All right.
Are you wearing a helmet, though?
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Always.
Good.
Okay, so we talked about the reflections. Mm-hmm. We talked about...
the rise.
Well, yeah, but before I go there, I was like, is there anything else that you want to talk about or mention that we hadn't talked about already about your time here, or anything that was like really impactful for you? Any other reflections?
I really appreciate your friendship.
Bro, what the fuck, man? That's so sweet. Your birthday.
Yeah.
We had a moment where you very much opened up to me and you said, yeah, my 21st birthday could have been better. Right?
Yeah.
Because you were on the Wall of China.
Yes.
Yeah, but you were you weren't with anyone.
No, I was in the land of concrete bricks in the Great Wall of China. And believe, it was awesome. Like, it was it's great to see it, great to do it, but yeah, you don't reflect on that. I reflected on the next night, April 19th, the day I got to spend with you guys. And when you and me went on the karaoke stage and sung aloud some Backstreet Boys. And like, that's what you remember.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because I remember when you told me that, right? That you had spent a birthday. I was like, man, I want to do something to make it special, you know? And what was it? I Want It That Way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it that way.
Tell me why.
Nothing but you're gonna get me going.
Yeah, it's like we had some friends at the Hop. They like took videos and they posted it to where 300 people.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't think I was in the group chat at that point.
No, dude. I was like, whoa, this is. And then I had random people I'd never met be like, oh, good job singing. I was like, me too. But that was really, really cool. And then we sang you happy birthday.
It meant the world.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And like, I think that's really why I want to thank you, is I think you're very thoughtful in those moments.
Aww.
And it was, you took me under your wing there, and like, that was awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I know how it feels to spend like birthdays alone. I feel like maybe you've heard this quote before, but the people that are the friendliest and the kindest are so because they experienced what it's like to be on the other end. And they don't want other people to feel that. And I wanted to make your 21st. Did you drink it all that night?
No.
Dude, that's freaking cool. How many 21-year-olds do you know at IU the minute they turn 21? It's like, that's what I did. I went to Kroger and got like a 24-pack of Bud Light.
At 12:01.
12:07, I think was when and then the cashier looked at my idea. She said, okay.
Nice.
But that's so cool that you didn't drink it all and you just had like a really good like, you know, dinner with friends.
You remember it. And like, I think that's where singing and dancing and those things, it kind of, arts just kind of like surpasses everything.
I agree.
It's a way to express yourself that is not in regular ways.
That, dude, 150%. I think you and I have chatted about this before, where I said I feel like swing dancing, specifically swing dancing, is one of the best ways to feel connected to the world and other people, because you have physical contact where you're dancing with someone with care, right? And then you have music, and then everyone around you is doing the same thing, so you have community. So you combine all of that, and it kind of like skips steps to friendships. And then you find things that you have in common, like being Indiana boys, Hoosier boys, you know?
Yep.
Which, by the way, I love the fact that you have a Pacers shirt on.
Thank you, man.
Do you follow basketball at all?
Yep.
Caitlin?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah, Caitlin Clark.
Killing it. She had a triple-double, I think.
Oh, shit, really?
Recently, against Reese.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was cool. That's the only thing I know from TikTok. I don't know anything else about
besides basketball.
Well, yeah, that's essentially it. But I feel like it skips steps to like friendship, because other dances like, you know, salsa, West Coast, all that, they're also amazing. They have their own community and vibe. I like swing dancing personally because it's so happy. It's joyous. It came from a time when there was not very much joy, and this was a way for people to escape.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
I haven't tried any of their dances, but I'm sure it's probably a similar feeling.
Yeah. You and I still need to go to a rooftop bar, dude.
We'll make it happen. I only got like 5 days and ticking left, so.
We can go to the one where they have the Hangover if you want.
Went with my pops.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Dang.
He's a big Hangover fan.
Did you take picture at the same place?
Yeah. We have like
yeah.
my aunt and him and me are all like recreating.
Yeah.
We did the tourist shit. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Does everyone do that when they're there?
Yes. I mean, like people like count out the steps and like make sure they're sitting on like the right one. And like people are serious about it, including us.
I mean, I have to say that The Hangover, it's a freaking hilarious movie.
Yep.
Absolutely hilarious movie.
My dad, I think I watched it when I was like 8 or 9 with him. It was definitely a contentious thing, I think, in my family of like, is Ethan allowed to watch this? Like, should we skip through scenes?
Did they?
Yes. We think we skip through scenes.
Oh.
Especially in Hangover 2.
Yeah.
There's some scenes in Bangkok that...
There are some scenes there that you're like, wow. It paints Bangkok to be like this like crazy party town. maybe it's
Just
because
built on sex.
yeah, but maybe it's because I haven't like partied here. You know, I haven't done any of the partying things, and so I don't see it that way. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think you and I are on a very different side of the street here in Bangkok. We're talking about swing dancing, not the club we went to last week.
When people are like, "Have you been to the club?" "Oh yeah, our swing dance club. It's been fun, man. You want to come swing out with us?"
Rock, step, triple step.
Rock, step, triple step. All right. So the second half of the question, the rise. We talked about your reflection. You talked about your parents, how impactful that was, how that informs like how you want your kids to experience
if I'm thankful.
If you have kids, yeah. And then you talked about human connection, friendships. You're so sweet. I very much appreciate your friendship too, dude. That's why I wanted you to be the first podcast guest. Because I know that in like 5 years, we're going to do this again. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it every 5 years and see how Ethan's life has progressed.
Well, then I need to host you on a podcast as well to get right back.
But yes, the rise. All these reflections, right? What is a rise that you'll take with you that maybe you've risen already and it's changed you? Or what's something you're going to take with you and do moving forward?
I think I might take this in a different direction.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to be or get to a stage where like I don't need to do anything specific.
Ooh.
I don't need to do anything. Like
Ooh.
it's okay to just be sometimes.
Wow. From a structured man.
Believe me, I don't act that. I just think a lot of like maybe the things I want to do or achieve or be, it's illusory.
Illusory. First of all, what does that mean? I don't know the definition of illusory. What is that? Is that the opposite of a lottery?
No, it's just it's your imagination. It's made up. It's not going to actually give you anything in return.
Oh, okay.
I think I'll get to the point. It's illusory because what gives you that is the people and the connections. It's not what you achieve or the power you get or the promotion you have or your net worth.
It's the people. You're very people centric, aren't you?
This is kind of boring because all my answers are coming right back to that.
No, I actually think it's like the opposite of boring because there are a lot of people who aren't like you. That's why I think you're so unique. A lot of people are focused on how much money I make. How can I become a better dancer? How can I use someone to become a better dancer? How can I achieve a goal by stepping on people? But I feel like you're like, there's this quote that a buddy and I came up with for like the Vegas swing dance scene. Easily one of the, yeah, I was wrong. It's Denver, Vegas, and San Diego. There's one friend who lives in Vegas. Her name is Stephanie. And then her fiance is also there. So Hector, Stephanie, this is for you guys. Just giving you guys a quick shout out. Love you guys. But we were talking about the swing dance scene, and we were talking about how some people care about how good you are at dancing. Other people in Vegas care about how you are good. Just like as a person.
As a human.
Yeah. And I feel like you embody that, where you care about the quality of people. So
I want to.
You want to.
Try to.
And hey, we're all human, right? Sometimes it's hard to see like the best in people, especially if there's been something very personal that happened.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But I love how one of your takeaways is I don't have to do anything. It's all, what'd you say, illusory? Is that the word? I learned something new today.
I hope it's a word because we've said it 3 times now.
Wait, you made that up?
I'm like 99.9% sure it's a word.
Okay.
It's a word I don't usually use unless I'm on a podcast.
Okay. Illusory. Got it. So then, well, just from my understanding, you said some of the things that you plan to do was like, or some of the things that you said may not have like, I don't want to say has a point, right? Is that where you're trying to get at, that some of the things that you want to do don't have a point, or am I missing that?
I think that sometimes maybe, especially in American culture, you maybe want a job, a high-paying job, this and that, the typical route, that I think culture, society maybe points you in that direction. But I think what really is going to give you that satisfaction, you can obviously get satisfaction from your career. I hope to get satisfaction from my career.
Yeah.
I think deep down, when I reflect on it, when I'm that old man, it's not going to be that. It's going to be the people.
Right, because all of that is material. Money, house, job. But then when people remember you, or you remember like what you've done in life, you say that it's very much tied to the people you did it with.
Yes.
Or for.
Yes. But that's where I don't want to write off other things, because I think sometimes, like, you can get extreme, your career can be filled with amazing people that you know, it's not all one or the other.
Yeah.
I just think it's when you lose that, when you lose what really matters.
Yes.
In the pursuit of something else.
Yeah.
That's illusory.
That's illusory. When you lose something in the pursuit of something else. Oh, dude, that's so cool. I like that a lot. So, for example, let's take career, for example.
Yeah.
You focus so much on your career, like you work 80-hour weeks, that you lose someone very dear that you care about, like a girlfriend or a wife or kids or something, where they like become estranged, something like that.
Yes, or even just, I think you kind of create your own luck in life. And I think if you were to bury yourself in that direction, those opportunities to like create that joy with others would go away, because most of your time is spent not creating that luck environment.
Yeah.
That's why putting yourself in places like the Hop, putting yourself in those new environments that are social, is like the best thing ever.
It's I feel like it's very rewarding. I also feel like it's very scary because you and I are extroverts, right? We can turn it on. I feel like some extroverts, like, it's so stress inducing.
At times it is.
Yeah. My friend Steph that I was telling you about, she felt that way, where she was like very introverted, but then being in a community with quality people. I feel like not just swing dancing, but being in any community, badminton, running, rock climbing, music, whatever. If you're with quality people that you care about and like find a lot in common with, then I feel like naturally you just bloom. Whatever way blooming means, right? Because I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but for you, the blooming was just creating experiences and connections and friendships, like us, right? That are rooted in quality. That are rooted in quality. Period. Right?
I would say, yeah. Like on the most simplest level, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Damn, dude, that was fucking great.
I'll say, I think like that's why I think putting your identity, this is a different conversation. And I want to kind of frame this as a question for you as well.
Okay.
Do you see like danger in maybe putting your identity in communities and ideologies and things?
100%. I do. Now this is where I'm gonna veer a bit, right? Because I love swing dancing and I love this community. I also don't want to take over my life, because I think I spoke to you before, right? Like how it did take over my life, and it was illusory. I was so focused on dancing and my dance goals, and the intent was to create community and to have a positive impact. That was the intent, but it just took over my life, and I lost a lot of opportunities to like get to know friends in college. I lost chances to like explore. When I would travel, I would just want to go swing dancing. I wouldn't want to experience like what that city had to offer, you know? And I feel like when you put your entire identity around this one thing, if you lose that one thing, well then you're in a pretty, dare I say, dangerous spot.
Yep.
Right? Because I feel like too much of even a good thing can be bad, right? And so even if it's not dancing, and maybe it's a religion, or maybe it's a career.
Political ideology.
In
the world that we're living in now.
Yeah, 150%. If it's a political ideology. If you make any of those things your entire identity, regardless of intent, well then at some point you're going to lose out. You're going to get tunnel vision and you lose out on all the other beautiful things. Would you feel free to disagree?
No, I agree. I'm just still like wrestling with the idea constantly that like you can't lose yourself in it, but still that sort of like ideology is what gives us purpose a lot of times.
Yes.
So I think it's this fine line. It's like because we want to be part of something.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. That's
Yeah.
why we join communities.
Yeah.
We want to feel involved and heard. But there's a point where I think it just goes too far. So I don't think you can't let it consume you, but I think you should be extremely critical and aware of the things you follow and the ideologies that you are a part of and the groups that you are a part of. You should be very critical of it.
An example I like to think of, right, is let's say for the huge thing right now is what do you call those paddle games? Pickleball.
Yes.
That's like the new thing that my friends are into. That's how they're meeting singles and like,
Yeah.
or run club, right?
Yeah.
I would say being a participant of that means that you're part of the community. You know, you're doing the thing, you're enjoying it, yada yada. Taking it too far is doing it daily, taking on a leadership position that makes it no longer fun. You're doing it just to do it now. And then like you're planning it and then you have no time for friends, no time for family because of that one thing.
Yes.
I would say that's like taking it to that extreme, which I've done.
Yes. Because sometimes we're not creatures of balance.
No, not at all. I feel like now though, after like several years, I've reached the point where I have a balanced outlook on it, where I am able to approach different things equally, because dancing is not my whole life. I love it. I love the community that it brings and like the beauty that it is, but it's not my entire life. I have, like you said, I have other hobbies, I have other things that I do, I have other interests, like this podcast. This podcast to me is like really important because I want to share stories and experiences. If even one person finds anything that we talked about here today like impactful or they enjoyed it, like I feel like that's where I truly want to focus my energy. And I don't feel like I can do too much of that.
It sounds like you've made a lot of progress in that realm since the days of only swing dance versus now. This sounds like a very balanced sort of Adrian.
Yeah. Man, this is supposed to be a podcast about you, dude. You freaking flipped the switch on me.
And so, I mean, yeah, I can reflect a lot of what you've said as well. So
I do think that you and I have a lot of the same ideologies and a lot of the same perspectives, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, speaking of perspective,
yep,
people are going to be here in about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So, is there anything else that you want to touch on or anything that we didn't bring up that you want to talk about?
No, that was kind of my last thing, was just be critical and wary of the things you associate with. And don't let it consume you. Choose the middle road.
100%.
If we want to use a Buddhist lingo, choose the middle path.
Choose the middle path. I think that's a great way to end it. Choose the middle path. Ethan, thanks so much for being in the first episode.
Brother, thank you so much for hosting me, and I had a freaking blast.
Yes. So
I really, really appreciate it.
Oh,
Seriously.
of course. You're very welcome. If you enjoyed this podcast, this is on Spotify, YouTube, and all the things. Feel free to follow us there. I realize my feet are in the shot, dude.
Oh shit!
They've been in
We
the
can
shot
move
the
the
entire
frame up. We can move the frame up.
But follow us on all the things. Ethan, you're freaking dope, dude.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
We'll do this again in a couple of years, huh?
Deal.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like us on Spotify, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all the socials. We're really looking forward to bringing you some really awesome episodes. So enjoy and have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.